Leila, welcome to the Shift podcast. I'm really excited to have you. The world has brought us together very randomly, and I'm really, really happy to have a chance to chat with you.
Likewise, it's so lovely to reconnect after all these years, Elena. Lovely
Absolutely.
to see you.
Absolutely. So give our audience a little bit of a snapshot about kind of, your own career story, because this is what this podcast is about, really kind of helping people overcome change. And I'm always curious to hear how individuals grow in their careers, start their own businesses. So give us a little bit of a snapshot.
Okay, well, that snapshot is a long one. Let me make it short. It started in 97, actually, in Algeria, where I am originally from. And I've always been passionate about people development. So I've been in HR, but always as a specialist. So learning and development, talent management, career development. And that's what I always have been in my corporate environment, because for me, I've never been interested in the generalist aspect. I've always wanted to work with people so that they can find the right career for them and not for what their parents want them to be. And that's how I actually moved all along. Then went to the UK, and then I started working again in government and financial services, again, helping people in their careers and leadership development. And then I moved to Dubai, well, actually to Abu Dhabi. In 2009, and I've been working for a sovereign fund. That's how I moved to the UAE, and it's been 13 years. So from there, then I moved into National Bank of Abu Dhabi, where I was working also with Emiratis, and that was a big passion of mine, of developing local talent. Again, in terms of their career, in terms of their growth, in terms of their succession planning and stuff. And then 2013, I decided to jump the ship and set up my own business, because I had spotted I've always wanted to set up my own business, but it was never the right time. I loved being in a corporate environment, and I moved between oil and gas, financial services, and government. But then I got bored, and I go, okay, well, I could do this for myself, because I spotted a niche actually. And I go, okay, well, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So now is the time. And the rest is history. So it's been since 2013 where I've set up Compass, co-founded Compass. And Compass is actually, so it's been since March 2013 when I left the corporate environment. And then 4 years ago, I became a partner of a UK coach training school, and I became the Middle East partner. So I run all the coach training in the region for the Middle East. So that's in a snapshot.
That's awesome. And hey, you, thanks for watching. If you're enjoying this episode, make sure to share it with friends and family who might find it interesting. Make sure to hit the subscribe button as well to stay up to date on weekly new videos that are going to be coming out with some awesome guests that I bring on. And if you have any questions, use the comment section to ask me questions, to interact. I look forward to talking to you. Awesome. And tell us, and with Compass, what are some areas? Because I know when we first met many years ago, I'm curious if the focus has shifted in terms of what you do with Compass, with individuals and corporates.
Absolutely. When you know us, actually, we were offering coaching, we were offering assessment, and we were offering lots of leadership development programs. But over the years, that has shifted. We started as 3 partners. Then we moved into the original co-founders. So it's only Gaj and myself. And that's how we initially started, the conversations of building Compass. So there's been a big shift between 3 partner co-founders and partners into 2. That was the first shift. The second shift has been over the years, because we were working with, as you know, business schools, top business schools like the INSEAD and Ashridge and LBS, and then working with government, working with semi-government and multinationals. We were offering all these solutions. So we set up as a talent management consultancy. And then over the years, we started looking at what do we really do every day and what are we passionate about day in, day out. And we realized that the core is coaching, be it we're working with individuals, with individual careers, or teams, because we work with leadership teams. We realized, and then coach training, everything evolved around coaching. So Gaj and I spent a long time last year, and we decided to actually rebrand. So if you realize, if you remember, our logo has changed. So we bought a brand new, fresher look, and we are a coaching company because that's what we've been doing. So we let go of the other services that we enjoyed, and we built a client base. But we realized that actually what we have always been passionate about is coaching. So now when we receive requests from our clients who used us, like to work with us for talent assessment or talent development, and we just go, we no longer offer those services. We're purely coaching company. We offer coaching and we train coaches. So that's been a big shift for us.
Yeah, but listen, it's a shift in the right direction for sure, as you of course know, because at least it kind of I've noticed over the last few years, it's really been focusing more towards the individual, and this is where it's really we're really able to make an impact on others, right? It's through the having those individual conversations and having those experiences, with others, and I think it's something that's growing globally. I've seen a shift, so I think that's what people need. That's what corporations need. There's a lot of talk about talent, right? And we're going to get into that because that's a big thing that's been talked about. And I feel like the gap between, what companies need and the good talent that's coming out of universities or, as they grow in their careers, just widening more and more. But it's definitely that's exactly what people need. I think gone are the days of group coaching, or not group coaching, but the group workshops where, 20 people in the room, and that's, you're supposed to walk away with being able to make a change when the workshop wasn't even about you, right? It wasn't tailored towards you.
And it's so interesting you said that, Elena, because that's how we started noticing the shifts also in us, because both Gaj and myself, we help people develop and grow, but so do we. So we invest heavily on our professional and personal growth. And that's one of the things, when I go on, be it a leadership development program, but mainly spiritual or creativity. I'm currently in a 1-year creativity diploma about tapestry weaving and wholehearted creativity. So how do you bring in creativity and play to your practice? Or when I go on these big leadership, actually, that's where we met when you attended my workshop in the desert. I started noticing I no longer enjoy these awesome journeys of leadership development where people come in for 2 days every month. We go into a nice hotel in Dubai. We have great impact because the conversations are very deep. But then these people go back to their context, and these are senior leaders, and the context is the same. The context has not changed. So, and then they come back and they are so deflated. And then we help them pick up again that energy and enthusiasm. And over time, I realized that I was no longer fired up by those conversations, because I want to continue having conversations because it's a people business, right? You're in the same business. It's a lot of energy that we invest in those individual conversations, and so sacred and intimate. So for me, I want to continue having those conversations where I know I'm adding value to people's awareness about who they are, what they stand for, what are their values, and what's their potential. How do they want to live their life? So if I'm having those conversations and people are going back to the same old, I'm no longer fulfilled by those. Was it paying the bills? Was it awesome to have all these big programs? Yes, but it served a purpose, which is no longer fulfilling for me. So it was a natural shift into the intimate one-to-one conversations.
Yeah, and I think that's very important because, at the end of the day, we have to practice what we preach, right? In the world of talent development. And, you have to enjoy and be present and be genuine in your approach. And if that's no longer, then you're no longer adding value if you don't feel you have that purpose. And purpose has been a big discussion around the world, right, over the last few years. So it's that's very nice. I wanted to ask you, so you've been in this for quite some time in the world of talent. Have you seen other themes that you've seen shift? So was it something that were there themes around individual development that we've seen maybe in when you first started in 2013 towards what does it look like now when it comes to talent and individual coach? Like what are people mostly kind of focusing on? Other themes? Yeah.
Absolutely. We've noticed a big shift. And I'll give you an example. When I used to work with government entities in 2013, 14, 15, I would say up till 16, there was heavy investment in talent assessment, career development plans, individual development plans, but we assess talent based on competencies, and then we put those plans. And then we offer coaching, and then, they can choose between lots of training courses. This is no longer the case. Even organizations who are spending money in assessing their talent, they're assessing talent for high potentials because it's the war of talent. So they really want to focus on but then what we're noticing a shift is instead of giving them a shopping list of training programs, they allocate a career or an executive coach. Because those conversations are very intimate. And then the coach, when I work with my clients, is to help them tailor what is it about you that's for the next level, what competencies do you need to develop that is tailored to you, based on what the organizations want you to achieve. And that's a major shift, because organizations are no longer spending money on just sending people abroad. Like, I mean, especially nowadays with COVID, where everything is accessible online, organizations have cut so much costs. So this is a big trend. And also we're noticing more and more companies have been investing in coaching, be it career or performance or leadership, but also life coaching. I mean, I've worked with lots of organizations where I was actually an on-site coach, like having a coaching practice where I come 5 days a month, where people just come in. It's like a practice, like you go and see a psychologist, and people book, and it could be either life, like a life challenge that is impacting them, or it could be about career, or it could be about the leadership. Before, we didn't really notice that people were investing in this. So there is a more of a shift into, and especially during COVID and now, the types of conversations we're having with organizations and some of the projects is mainly tailored to well-being and happiness and career, because organizations are finally realizing that this is the whole person. We cannot say, leave your problems outside here. I want you to just focus on your career and on your performance. Because if the person is having issues with homeschooling, for sure there will be an impact on the performance of the person during the day. So we're noticing this kind of shift of companies investing in those conversations.
Yeah, and I think it's fair as well, because the talent issue has been the talent challenge, the war for talent that you mentioned has been an issue, and it's been growing more and more with now being able to do this from home, being able to do this, remotely. And on top of that, we're, I think with new generations coming in, I'm curious to kind of hear your thoughts, but with new generations, gone are the days where we're focusing on just being career, and like, no matter what you do, you work, and that's your life. Now the new generations coming in, even those that are generous like myself, and even your generation, like, we are also starting to find this idea that it's not just about performance, as you said, it's also about our well-being, and it's not just about work. It's about not disconnecting the two, and they're almost correlate, because if your well-being, meaning your emotional well-being, your financial well-being, your social well-being, if these parts are not taken care of, right, then you cannot be at your best. It's very difficult to be at your best, and even if you can, eventually you're going to hit a burnout. And that's what we've seen happen so much, is that people felt disconnected from the work that they're doing, and they're hitting that burnout because this part of well-being has been neglected. And I think the demand is now there from employers to focus more on that. And I part of me feels like the generations coming into the workforce are the ones that are really driving this, but that's just my assumption. Do you see this, or do you feel like mid-level and senior level professionals are also kind of pushing for this, or is it the demand from the younger generations that are saying, listen, I'm just not willing to work 60 hours a week and not care about anything else?
I would say it's mainly from the younger generation, like the people entering the workforce, because I coach lots of these people. And I love coaching these people because they just entering the workforce. They may have 1 or 2 years or 3 years of experience. They're still lost. They're still finding themselves. And that's what I love working with them, because they have that fire and that energy and stuff, but they need direction. They need somebody to help them see, who am I and where am I going? And your way of doing things is, my manager's way of doing things is not necessarily the way I want to do things, because I see life differently. So I'm noticing they are the shapeshifters. They are the ones pushing for this and pushing for. I coach a lot of them who are actually pushing for some flexible working, or at least a Friday. As you know, Friday in the UAE now, it's a half a day for government entities. So lots of them are pushing for half a day from home. If they could work from home also. Some of them like that mixture. But I'm also noticing a lot of burnout in the C-suite people that I'm working with, because they've just been pushing, because their work values are different than this newer generation. But that's where there is a miscommunication between these two, because everybody has different value system about how they perceive work and commitment, engagement. That doesn't mean that those people are not engaged or committed, but they have other things. And lots of them also are entrepreneurs. So they have their businesses on the side, which means that's something that in my generation and yours, we were not seeing, because we were just in a full-time job. You just give your 150%. But these people have different, they may have an online business, they may have their partners with somebody, and they have a government job for
Right.
security, or but I'm noticing also a new trend. I mean, certainly amongst my friend or the people how in my network, people who've been very senior, C-suite, and they just go, okay, enough. Enough is enough. Now it's time for me to focus on my well-being, and also where do you want to work and how much do I want to work? So, but I would say that is a minority compared to the shapeshifters, the newer generation, and they are drivers for change. But the policies are not really helping, because at the end of the day, you know, like in the, they still want people to be back to face. So there is that, you know, but I don't want to be face to face all the time. I want to have that flexibility. So there is that not really between what I want and the expectation.
Right. Yeah, and that poses a problem for having, you know, recruiting and retaining that great talent, which we all know is very difficult to find. So I think companies have to be more and more flexible in terms of finding ways, you know, to retain this talent. And I'm curious also, have you seen a shift in terms of just the way I guess particularly in a corporate world, do you see that we're moving more away from that full-time employee towards more of like a kind of independent worker, where independent contributor, somebody kind of like what you mentioned, is somebody who has a job, but then you know, they're doing other things as well on the side. But have you seen it as kind of something that, do you feel that this is going to be the future, like that freelance independent work where corporations will be hiring contract-based individuals? Or do you see that we're still going to grow in that full-time employee 9-to-5 mentality, and that's kind of where that's how it's going to stay?
I mean, if you look at the shifts that happened in the UAE and continues to happen very fast, is the change of the visa requirements, and, you know, the freelance visa, and then they working from abroad and then have visa in Dubai. So already in terms of regulation, this is changing. So of course it is representing the population and what people are looking for. You know, when you look at the free zone visas for people having a free zone, and you can still work with organizations. So there's been, from a regulatory aspect, there's been lots of shifts. So that actually allows people, oh, actually, I can do that. So I can still be full-time and I can still talk. I work with lots of Emiratis who have actually other businesses on the side. And the organization knows that, yes, I have a business on the side. So they have to declare that there is no conflict of interest. And they are okay with that. And I'm seeing more and more. But I would say I see more of that in government with Emiratis than with expats. Because of course there is also a difference, you know, because it's visa related and you need to have your visa. So there is also the regulatory aspect that impacts people. Or I see a lot of expats just leaving and being an entrepreneur, but I've not seen a trend of lots of expats still having a full-time job and having a side job. That I've not seen. Will things change? Things are changing every day. So I won't be surprised if this will be, you know, moving forward. This is something that we will shift.
Yeah, and this is something definitely like I see in the States, for example. I see this in the States, so I'm curious, and I think it's going to catch up eventually in the Middle East, but I think there's just the regulatory aspects of it. Yeah, but I'm curious, what does that mean for individuals to maintain their competitive edge, essentially? Because if the world will be shifting towards that multi-dimensional professional that is maybe less specialized. Of course, in certain careers, we still need to be specialized, but I'm talking like, you know, the kind of the majority of professions out there that are very fluid in terms of, you know, what that individual does. What does that mean for a skill set if we're shifting towards that? What would you recommend people to focus on?
I think that's such a great question, because we're seeing a big shift into, you know, big data, and then metaverse, and then all these big buzzwords that we're hearing now that most of us don't even understand what it means. So I guess it's really about people have to take ownership for their own growth. Organizations are no longer spending money in training you in everything that is evolving every day. They're not going to be setting up all these training courses for you. So so my invitation for people is really take the lead for your own growth. If you're seeing that, the UAE is having strategy for metaverse and stuff, okay, which means that's something that's coming. You know, when I look at the paper and I go, oh, okay, well, personally, I have no idea what metaverse, you know, beyond what the basic is. So it's a new field for me personally to start learning about, and how will this impact my business? So it's taking the lead and accountability for what is it that I need to be aware of, that I need to actually invest or go on an online program or start, attending program. You look at the corporate tax in the UAE. That's another thing. There've been so many webinars and stuff. So really keeping yourself up to date with the new trends, and also where is your interest? Because everything is moving into automation, everything is moving into, online. I met lots of people. I was in Dubai a few weeks ago, and then I had lots of conversations with people, and lots of them, they go, I'm done with Zoom. And I go, that's really interesting, because Zoom is here to stay, be it Zoom or be it Teams, or, it's here to stay. Right. I'm done with this. It's like, okay, those 2 years I was forced to do this. Now I only want to do face-to-face. I would say that is not the way in how the world is moving. Right. So that resistance is like people before resisting the online because they wanted purely face-to-face. So I'm seeing now the opposite trend. Then you're going to limit your exposure, and you're going to limit how much, the accessibility towards the whole globe. Yeah. But unless you're keeping yourself up to date with the trends and where we're heading, and what do I need to focus, and what do I need to update myself? Or, as you said, what is my niche? What is the thing that I'm passionate about that I want to bring in so people can benefit from? But people need to take more accountability and invest in themselves, rather than just waiting for organizations to pay for that training or that certification. In our coach training, we've got programs for managers and leaders, and we've got also a program for coaches to become certified and accredited coaches. That's why I run 2 programs. I run one in-house for corporates to pay for their employees, but I run one as a public program where if you want to become a coach, well, then you need to pay for it, and then you come and attend. And I see a lot more of people still in a full-time job, but investing in that because they go, that's what I want to start in the work now, but that's eventually what I want to head into, having my own coaching practice. So people are taking the lead in investing in themselves. And that was a game shifter since COVID started.
Yeah, I think because we're just realized that we can no longer, that nothing is safe anymore, almost, that nobody, that there's, you don't know what's going to happen. And the best way you can do is to take care of your own kind of career development. Exactly. Something comes to mind, and I forget who said it, and forgive me if this person's listening and I don't remember who said it, but they said courage, consistency, and curiosity. So courage to kind of be able to change, in terms of just being courageous enough to want to make a change, to step into the unknown, right? In baby steps. Consistency is to continuously to do this, because we can no longer get away with just getting a degree or a certificate and then that's it and we're done. We check the box, we're good. It's literally like continuous weekly, monthly basis. We have to continue learning in small doses. And then curiosity, curious to be where your career is going. What does the future work look like? What does your industry look like, etc. So I think you're spot on in terms of just, empowering your own self to essentially to take advantage, take control of your own career development. I think, and I've seen this a lot, and I see people that are very dynamic in their careers, those that are kind of just, wearing multiple hats are those that tend to be most successful in times of change like this.
And actually, as you said this, Elena, something else surfaced for me. The other also invitation I'd love to give to our listeners here is look also for what is unique about you, because I see a lot of copy and paste, and I'm sure you see the same. Yes. Oh, she's successful, and I heard this many times. Oh, you're an executive coach, and oh yeah, that pays. Okay, so that's something. It's not just about the pay. And I'll give you a big shift that is happening in our markets is when I receive tenders, because we're in a tendering business, be it coaching training or executive coaching or team coaching. Organizations are looking for people who have corporate experience, because now they're asking me for CVs. So they no longer want to see your coaching certifications. They want to see that you have a leadership experience in organizations, that you led teams, because they're going to give you their C-suite teams. So be unique in also looking at what ignites your fire. If it is well-being coaching, by all means, go and study this. If it is nutrition, go and study it. If it is career, it's not just learning about this, it's also your career path. And also, so be unique in looking for what ignites your fire and what's the added value you're going to bring to people, like delivering this with purpose, and not just, oh, okay, so everybody is moving into nutrition, let me do this. Oh, now the new buzzword is well-being. Okay, well, I'm also offering. And that's when it loses, because the market is there. People are not stupid. when they will see, and you go, okay, so who else did you deliver this well-being program to? And if you have no credentials, how are you going to enter that market and compete with other people who have that track record of experience? So find your unique voice. And that's when people will be looking up at you and then would like to work with you.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit more about, where do you hang out? Because I'm sure, you between you and your business partner, you guys produce a lot of content, and I know he speaks as well at different places, and so do you. So where can people access some of your information if they want to get in touch with you? Social media, website?
So the best way would be to go on our website, which was all rebranded last year. So compassconsultancy.com, Compass with K, and also check us on LinkedIn. So both myself and Gaj are very active on LinkedIn. And Gaj is also active on Instagram. I'm not. My Instagram is personal. So the best way would be to go on our website or to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where people find me.
That's great. And I'm going to make sure to share it in the description below so people have access to it. Leila, it's been great to reconnect with you. Thank you for offering us some insights and kind of from your experience, which is super credible. And again, I've known you for so many years, and I remember you made a huge impact on me when we did that workshop in the desert. It was truly one of the most, and I think everybody in that group felt the same way. So it was really, really awesome. I still have photos from it. It was a great memory. And yeah, I do. I see it pops up in memory, my iPhone, and it's always a nice memory, genuinely. So thank you for the work that you do, and I think you guys are, I'm sure, making an impact, and hopefully people will kind of take advantage of what you guys are offering and get a chance to talk to you.
Thank you very much, Elena. It's so lovely to reconnect with you, and it's so awesome to see you reinventing yourself and doing this awesome podcast. And when we met, we were both full-time in Dubai. We're no longer full-time in Dubai. We both shifted, and it's such a pleasure to see you offering the world this beautiful podcast. So continue shining, and thanks for having me on your show as well. Really, really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Likewise.